chance to take very many AP classes, so I only had a chance to take 2, and I took AP Calculus BC and AP US History. Here is a list of my achievements/accomplishments throughout my years of high school. I am the president of Get It, which is a technology club at my school and a bunch of schools around Michigan. Get It stands for Girls Exploring Together Information Technology. It's a girls-only club, and the point of it is to inspire other women to look into this field of technology, because in this field, women are extremely underrepresented. So we do a bunch of stuff in this club, like web design, robotics, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, anything. I'm also the founder of Graphic Studio, which is an organization in my school where we use digital art and graphic design to create products such as t-shirts and posters and flyers for other organizations around my school and my community. Through Graphic Studio, me and my friends founded heartsunitedshop.com, which is an online brand store where we made apparel and other small things, and all of the funds from it went to COVID-19 relief and Black Lives Matter. So yeah, I also won multiple speech competitions through Finesse Academy with Vidyanti. I've placed in web design competitions, and I'm also a National Merit Program commended student. And my club as a whole has placed multiple times in cybersecurity competitions. So here are my extracurriculars. I already talked about Get It and Graphic Studio, but I'm also a member of National Honor Society, which is an organization that teaches students to uphold the 4 pillars of character, leadership, scholarship, and service. It's also selective. I was a member of Key to Finesse and Finesse Club, which uses public speaking and confidence to help out our greater community and also practice speeches and learn different life skills. I played over 4 years of tennis throughout my high school and prior to that. I taught SAT math classes, just the math classes specifically, because that's where my strong suits were. And I have over 100 hours of volunteering, which I did through NHS or CAS, which is an IB requirement. So here are some summer programs and internships that I strongly recommend for people who's looking into technology or engineering. So MCWT offers a ton of camps. If you don't know, MCWT stands for the Michigan Council of Women in Technology. It is only for people in Michigan, and it is only for women, for girls, because it is just like my Get It Club, where they inspire girls to look into this field. And they offer Camp Infinity, where you learn about web design and databases. And also they have cybersecurity seminars and all sorts of really cool presentations and classes and camps. The University of Michigan also offers some summer programs. I did one called Electrify, which was based on electrical engineering and circuits and things like that. And there's also the Michigan Math and Science Scholars Summer Program that I didn't specifically get to participate in this, but a lot of my friends did, and they said that it's a really cool opportunity. It's also very selective. One internship that I recommend is the HSSTP Ford internship. It is for high school juniors and seniors. And in this internship, you learn about research and design and engineering and technology with Ford. And it's a summer paid internship. And I've done this for 2 years, virtually, unfortunately, but hopefully next year, if you guys are interested, you can go in person and get some hands-on experience. So I want to major in computer science, and there are many reasons why. Computer science is a growing field with many, many opportunities. Every company or job that you'll see probably requires computer science in some form. And you can use your skills that you learn to create a true difference. It's almost like a community service to an extent. Computer science allows for a lot of creativity and innovation. And you can also take part in advancing technology to create an efficient world, which is ultimately my goal. So here's some quick advice and tips that I have as a high school student. Start building up your resume as soon as possible. Start participating in clubs or doing organizations or any activities from the beginning of high school, really. You can explore a little bit, but really get into something. And start applying for colleges in the summer before your senior year. Your essays will pile on if you leave them till the last minute. So the prompts are always the same year to year most of the time. So you can look them up and start writing rough drafts. And I'll tell you that's going to help you a lot when you actually begin to apply. Ask for letters of recommendations early, because in the fall, your teachers will be extremely busy with writing letters of recs for tons of students. So ask them early, maybe even in the summer or in the first week of school, if you know them that well. Apply early action if possible. If you apply early action and you get deferred, you still have another shot at getting into a college of your choice. Take either the SAT or the ACT. You don't have to take both. If you remember, I only mentioned my ACT score because I believe that my SAT score didn't reflect my academic ability that well. And that's okay. Both of them are different and you could be suited to one or the other. Definitely take both if the college you want to apply to requires one. But if you feel like that it didn't reflect who you were, try the other one and you might see that you're better at it. And if you see an opportunity that excites you, go for it. That goes without saying. Definitely do something you're passionate about and try to set yourself apart by doing something with it. And also balance your school and home life is very important and good for your sanity and mental health as well. So don't forget about your academics, but also don't make everything about your academics. That's all I have. This is my contact information with my email and phone number. You can text me if you have any questions and I can try to answer them. And I also have my Instagram and Twitter plugs if you want to follow me there and ask me more questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Aadya. That was really informative, and I'm sure that we can all agree that it gives some really helpful tips for all of us, especially incoming seniors and incoming high schoolers as well. So we just have a few questions that some people were asking. So one of them was, what are some things that you do over the summertime to prepare yourself for the incoming school year, or such as like internships and clubs? What are some things that you do to like prepare for those?
You can start researching and looking for more internships or summer programs that you're interested in. And that can give you necessary experience for either the school year or just like job experience in general, job experience or just experience in what you're passionate for. And that could really help narrow down what you want to pursue in the future. And you could also spend time researching colleges, what you want to do, things like that.
All right, and one more question that we had was, how can I find internships or research positions? And which one that you did choose helped you most with like the incoming major you're about to go to and the college you're about to go to as well?
Okay. For finding programs or internships, one of the easiest ways is just to Google it and look up online. You can look up specific companies and see if they have any internship opportunities open or if they're offering any programs. And another way is to just find opportunities through connections. Maybe your parents know somebody or your parents' work is offering something, and you could just sort of find a way through that. And the one that helped me the most was definitely my Ford internship. It did feel more like an academic opportunity than a job experience, but it still helped me a lot. And it helped me narrow down what I really liked, and that was computer science.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Aadya. At the end, you guys can also ask Aadya some more questions, and she will obviously go ahead and answer them at the end of all of the three panelists' presentations. So next up, we have Shreyas, and he will be going over his presentation and things like that.
Alrighty. Hey guys, again, my name is Shreyas Talamakki. I'm currently working as a data scientist at Mars Wrigley. And before college and just starting to work here, I graduated from Salem High School as well back in 2016. And just recently in December, I graduated from Michigan State University with a bachelor's degree in computer science with a minor in economics. And hopefully in the long term, I'm interested in product management within like the fintech related field. So I think it's a really nice intersection between technology, computer science, and managing like a product by yourself. So hopefully I'll be able to go there. And I'm really excited to see where this technical path takes me. So excited to give you guys some information about that. So yeah. So some statistics about me. My high school GPA came out to be a 4.0, and I think this is unweighted. And I guess like this is kind of inflated because I did come from India after my sophomore year, so I only did 2 years over here. So you could never know if I could have did bad in a class like the first 2 years, so you never know. But college GPA came out to be a 3.75, and that's including every single class I've taken, including non-major classes. And I think my major GPA was a little bit less. It's probably like near 3.5 or 3.6. And my ACT score came out to be a 30 out of 36. I think the strongest suit was reading and science, I believe. But I did take the ACT once, and I was thinking about taking it again, but I pretty soon realized like I wanted to apply to more states like within my state, as well as like a couple of the neighboring states. So I just took that score and definitely applied to like all the colleges that I wanted. In terms of AP classes, I took AP Micro, AP Macro, and AP Lang. And together with those 3 classes that I took, I got 10 credits coming into MSU. So that definitely helped because the total amount of credits that were needed for my major was 120. So it's really nice getting 10 credits coming in because you're basically saving a couple $1,000s in like a semester in college. So if I could give you guys one tip is like take as many AP classes and IB classes as you can, because you will kind of suffer like in high school because you're taking a higher workload, but it'll definitely pay off in college because you're going to be coming in with like 20, 30 credits, finish like a fourth of your college. So you'll be able to have more leeway with taking like different classes that you like and giving time to like other extracurricular activities that you want to do. So definitely look into those AP classes and IB classes. So yeah. In terms of notable extracurriculars, one of the few things that's really helped me like across my college applications essay, interviews, and just meeting new people was I was the former state record holder for solving a Rubik's Cube one-handed. And this is something that I was able to add at like the end of my resume. So anytime I got called in for an interview, like after talking about all your technical skills and like all the academic boring stuff, you have something to talk about that's not related to that at the end of the interview, and it really eases things up. So once you guys start building your resume up, definitely look into like adding like a section about the things that interest you. And if you don't have any prior experience, definitely expand upon like the clubs that you joined to whatever leadership positions you took part in. And if you don't have any internships before getting your first one, expand upon the classes that you're taking. So if I took like a class in Python, I could talk about the projects that I was doing like during that course of like that semester. So try to fill up that resume as much as possible before sending your resume over to like recruiters and stuff. In high school, I took part in the photography and the Rubik's Cube club, and that was super chill because I what I could have done differently was definitely took part in more like technical clubs more related to my major, so it definitely made my college application a little bit stronger. And ideally, you want to find that balance between like joining clubs that you're interested in as well as those clubs that help you with your technical or like professional career. So look into those and try to expand your repertoire. In college, I was the member of the MSU Poker Club, MSU Sparta Hacks, and the Coalition of Indian Undergraduate Students. The poker club was super nice because it was something to look forward to at like the end of the week. You're done with classes and they had meetings like every Friday. So it was nice just meeting up with people and meeting new people because I was a freshman. So one of the best ways what you could do to meet new people and make connections is join these clubs and activities. So yeah. And the second one was MSU Sparta Hacks. And this is something that was a more like technically, like professionally oriented club that I was able to join, where they had hackathons set up like every single year, where you're able to learn about the new up and coming skills that are most in demand like within the industry. And it also gave a chance for like us coders to like talk to recruiters who came to these hackathon events. And this is one of the few ways which you could do if you're interested in the field of computer science, is join these hackathons because you're going to see these recruiters come to these events and talk about the internships that they're offering. And if you impress them enough with your projects and like, talking about your skills, they'll definitely give you a chance. And the last one was the Coalition of Indian Undergraduate Students. And this is super nice because I was able to meet people like from my similar upbringing and cultural background. So it was nice joining their events and stuff. So it was nice to get that experience in. But the thing that's helped me the most in bagging most of these interviews, not interviews, like bag my first entry level position was these internships. And the first one was Delta Dental of Michigan, which is located in Okemos, near Michigan State. There I worked as like a data analytics intern where I was working with figuring out the similarities between insurance rules. The second one was at Tesla Motors, where I worked as an application development intern for the warehouse management team. I was creating dashboards as well as like I created like a Python web application that helps them figure out the productivity rates of their warehouses. And the third one was TD Ameritrade, where and that company indulges in financial services. And there, I think I worked as a front-end development intern, so mostly web development, working with HTML, JavaScript, and React.js, just adding specific elements to their web pages. And the last one was Mars Wrigley, where they're indulging in consumer packaged goods and supply chain management. And that's where I really got to get the experience within data science. And I really got interested in that aspect of just being able to use past data to predict future outcomes. So I worked under the supply chain management team to figure out what would be the effect in changing promotional offers like within these stores, and how much more units would you sell by changing these specific discount units. So it was a super interesting internship. And yeah, and that's currently the company I'm working with. So yeah. So on to the next slide. I think the next slide is advice and tips. Yeah, okay. So one of the most important things that you could do as you're starting to apply to colleges is figure out which industry and which major interests you and which universities have like a strong program for that selected major. You want to find a balance between finding a college that's ideally, I mean, depending on your preferences, that's close to you, that's low in cost. It has a really good Greek life and just a lot of activities and stuff to do around, as well as it has, and you could be, if you do enough research, you'll be able to find which companies attend their career fairs. And if you see your dream company, ideally you want to focus like for those specific universities and apply to them so you have a better chance. So definitely look into that. And the second point is join clubs and partake in activities that interest you. I think that's something I mentioned earlier. So you want to find a balance between joining clubs that you will find an interest in, as well as joining clubs that help you push your professional career forward. So find those and try to get that experience in. So yeah. And the third one is learn how to manage your time in college. This is more specific to like once you join college, like your freshman year, because usually in high school, like your class starts at like the same time and it ends at the same time. But with college, you get to create your own schedule. So with that comes the freedom, as well as like you want to be able to use that time more effectively. Because I remember one of my classes, it started at 8 a.m. the first semester, and then the next semester, it started at like 2 p.m. So ideally, you want to use this time to either finish your homework, get an on-campus job, or like a research assistant position. And the way you want to get into those specific positions is contact the professors of the classes that you're currently taking. If you email them, they'll definitely reach back to you and let you know about the whole application process. And that's one of the few ways which would help you get a little bit of like technical experience before getting into a professional internship. So definitely contact those professors of like, and you could look into their research areas to see if that's something that you're really interested in, and then contact those professors from that. So yeah, look into that. And the fourth point is probably the most important thing that I could give you guys is all those 4 internships that I've got was not by applying online. I think a couple of them I was able to go a little bit forward, not those companies, but every single one was through career fairs where you're able to talk to these recruiters like in person, and you're literally just talking to the recruiter. You'll be able to go like 2 steps forward into the application process. So once you attend college, definitely attend these career fairs and events, because you're getting firsthand experience in being able to talk about your resume, try to sell yourself, like, and talk about like the classes you're taking and like how you're really interested in the company. So if you definitely show like those 3 aspects of you showing that you partake in clubs and activities, you have like interest in other areas like, other than academics, and you show interest in the company, they'll definitely give you a chance. So look around Google and try to find like any of these career fairs, events like these companies are hosting, and they'll definitely give you a chance with that. So yeah. And I remember my freshman year summer, I didn't get an internship, and what I was able to do is take these summer courses to ease up my regular semester. So it gives me more time and attention to give more attention, like working on my resume, working on contacting recruiters and stuff, because you'll have less classes to take in the regular semester if you take those classes in the summer. So it definitely helps you out to keep yourself a little bit occupied. And yeah, at times you're gonna feel a little bit stressed. I remember 3 of my roommates were all business majors, and I was the only engineering major. And I could definitely see like the workload difference. And it'll get to your head, but just push forward because you know the skills you're learning, regardless of what major you're taking, it's gonna be helpful to you in the long run. And just yeah, push through. So, yeah. To the next slide. And yeah, this talks about data science as a role. And ideally, you could think of it as like being able to have skills in all different of like those 4 different aspects. You can see you want a strong suit in math and statistics, being able to understand machine learning, statistical modeling, clustering analysis, like different aspects within computer science, which are more math oriented. So if you take classes related to calculus, linear algebra, you'll be pretty good to go on that aspect. And the second side is programming and database. And this is something that MSU was able to hone in on me because I think I took a lot of classes related to Python, C++, SQL. So you'll be able to learn these programming languages and be able to extract data from a specific database, clean that data out, do your analysis, and then send it to the business. So that's usually like the flow that you go about when you're a data scientist. And the second and third go hand in hand, where you're communicating and visualizing like your findings and being able to present that in a way not too technical because the business and the end users won't know about all like this machine learning and clustering analysis. So being able to extract above and talk about your findings in a more customer friendly manner is a really good skill to have like when you're a data scientist. So yeah, it's like an intersection of those 4 different aspects. So it's a really interesting major. Yeah. And yeah, how did I pick my major? It's this Japanese concept called ikigai. And I think the Japanese translation is something, I think, what is it called? To find your own purpose. And what you see right here in this diagram is it's an intersection of 3 different circles. The left one is what you're good at. The top one is what you love. The right one is what the world needs. And the bottom one is what you can get paid for. And ideally, if you find an intersection between all four of these circles, you're going to find your ikigai, like your sense of purpose. And if you can't find a job which does all 4, ideally you want to have like 3 or 4 different things that give like a taste of each of all 4 of those circles. So currently right now, if I'm working right now as a data scientist at Mars, I could say it's an intersection between passion, profession, and like what I'm good at. So like that triangle right next to ikigai. But so ideally you want to find these different activities and skills that you think you'd enjoy and try to find a way to financially incentivize yourself to make money with that. But yeah, just bounce around, look around different majors. There's a lot of different things out there. Computer science is a huge major. You could work in like cybersecurity, ethical hacking. And if you don't want to be more on the coding end, you could be more like a UI UX designer where you're deciding what a website needs to look like. So there's a lot of different aspects within computer science which you could look into, and you might be able to find something that you love. So yeah, thank you guys. Any questions?
Yeah, so I think our first question was if there was like one thing you would take away from your college experience and that you've applied in your current occupation, what would that be?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so like one thing you found valuable in your college experience that you've applied in your current occupation.
Oh, okay. I'd say one of the things is when you're joining these clubs, you're gonna have these different not conflicts, but like disagreements. So being able to work with that when you're joining these specific clubs, you're gonna have that experience behind your back. So that's definitely going to help you once you like enter the workforce. And the other couple of things, this is more specific to my major because I took classes related to like the things that interest me. So within computer science, they offer, after you take like your required courses, you have like a set of like 10 or 20 classes which you could take specific to computer science. So I was able to take like a course in data science, data analytics, and more hone in on Python and C++. So I feel like those skills really translated over to my job. So if you really know what you want to do, ideally look for these specific classes like within your major. That'll help you excel in your field. So definitely look into that.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is was there anything specific you did in high school that you thought really helped you in your college courses?
College courses. I'd say, I mean, a pretty big part of it would be if you take AP classes, you're gonna really improve your work ethic. And I think once you have that down and once you graduate high school, I feel like that work ethic is going to translate pretty easily into college. Because I'd say I've heard a lot of people say like high school was definitely harder than college because the number of classes you take in a day is going to be much less when you're in college, depending on your workload. But once you've challenged yourself enough, like in high school where you're taking a lot of classes, you're partaking in like 4 or 5 clubs and activities, will definitely help you like create that work ethic, which will really translate over to college. So challenge yourself in high school so that, especially like with classes you take, you'll get credit coming into college, and you'll be able to give more attention to like things that are non-academic, like contacting like professors and recruiters for like research assistant positions and stuff. So you'll have more time to yourself. So definitely challenge yourself in college. I didn't enough. I wish I took more AP classes and took part in more clubs and stuff. So and it would have definitely helped made my college application a little bit stronger in retrospect. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, all in the end, it's all worked out. But you know, just as a if you look back. So,
All right,
yeah.
thank you. We can now
Yeah,
go
no
to
problem.
Dr. Neeta, who's going to go over her slides.
Hi, my name is Neeta Erinjeri. I'm so happy that you guys invited me to come and speak to you today, just talk about careers, my field of medicine, and just offer some insight into those of you who are pursuing fields, STEAM-related fields. I'm originally from Flint, Michigan. I went to public school there, Carmen Ainsworth High School. Well, actually, I went there from kindergarten through graduation. I graduated from high school in 2005. That gives you any idea of kind of the time it takes to get to where I am now. From high school, I went to Michigan State University, which is in Lansing, Michigan, to do my undergraduate. I did a bachelor's in science through the Lyman Briggs School and the College of Natural Science. And then I stayed at Michigan State to do my MD at the College of Human Medicine, which was 4 years. I decided I wanted to do general surgery for at least my initial training for residencies. So I applied for and then matched at Yale University through the Yale School of Medicine in their general surgery program, which is 5 to 7 years. And then I stayed there to do additional subspecialty training in endocrine surgeon, and that is what I am doing now. So I am in my 3rd year of practice now in endocrine surgery at Miami Cancer Institute in Miami, Florida. Everyone's path is different, but we'll talk a little bit about how I got to where I am now. As far as statistics go, first of all, I'm including this because they asked me to include it, but grades are definitely important, especially when you're applying to college and medical school or graduate school or wherever it is that you are going. But it's important because it's kind of an initial screening mechanism. There are so many other things that are used when figuring out who to accept or who to promote, etc. A bad score, a bad grade doesn't make or break you, and I think it's just important to keep that in mind because everybody struggles. So we did not have weighted GPAs at my school. Unweighted, my GPA was 4.0. When I looked at how weighted scores are usually calculated with like AP classes that I had available to me, my weighted score would have, I think, been a 4.2. But we didn't have a lot of AP courses at my high school and no IB courses. So I took what was available and took the AP exams that were offered. So AP US History, AP Chemistry, Calculus BC, and English. And that translated into, when I went to college, that was an additional 19 credits that I had, which is, over a semester's worth of credits. Now, of course, you still need to take the requirements for your major or in general, but it does still help, as was mentioned. I did take both the SAT and the ACT because I was applying pretty broadly to college. I had a lot of aspirations as far as where I thought I may end up wanting to go, and I didn't want to limit myself. And while one is sufficient, a lot of colleges preferred one versus the other, so I just did both. I got an overall 1510 on the SAT, which was I'm sorry, I had a 790 in math and a 720 in English. And then I did the ACT and I got a 34. I also did 3 SAT subject-based tests, which is how they kind of make the SAT equivalent to the ACT. Then when I went on to college, I did a major in physiology, human physiology. And for that, with the 19 credits that I had from undergrad, that doesn't count towards your GPA, but I took classes throughout the summer semesters and the year semesters and graduated after 3 years with a minor in bioethics and a major in physiology and a GPA of 3.9. Go to the next one. As far as extracurricular activities, I just put in a spattering here. This is kind of what rounds you out, I think, as a person. There's more to school than classes, and there are more opportunities even than we know about. So in high school, I was involved in sports. I was on the swim team, I was on the volleyball team, I was part of student council and both the class councils as well as our executive board. I was a member of the National Honor Society. And then I was interested in a career in medicine even at that time. So I became a volunteer at Hurley Medical Center, which is a major hospital in Flint, Michigan. And actually throughout, from age 4 onwards, I was a student in classical Indian dance. Throughout college and medical school, I did continue volunteering in hospitals. Again, I was interested in that career path, but I also branched out from that somewhat. I joined with some colleagues in the business school and co-founded an information technology forum through the Eli Broad College of Science, and just kind of learned a lot about areas that I was not as familiar in, to just expand my experiences and make new connections and really explore all the options that were available going to a large university like Michigan State. I was also a member of the Coalition of Indian Undergraduate Students, and I did make a lot of friends and connections through that, as well as do some choreography. And I volunteered for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and granting wishes for children with terminal illnesses. I think you just find the things that interest you, explore new things, challenge yourself, and see if these areas that you're curious about, maybe they fit, maybe they don't, but at least sports aren't for everyone, but being part of a team is fun. You get a lot of growth potential, and it does definitely help prepare you for how to work with people moving forward. And getting involved in leadership, those skills that you learn there, whether it's for you or not, those skills really do help moving forward. As far as other experiences and or achievements throughout that time, Lives Improved Through Engineering, it was a biomedical engineering summer camp through Kettering University, which is an engineering university in Flint. And they have several summer programs. This one I did because it kind of was an intersection between engineering and medicine, and something that I really wanted to explore. And it was a really great experience. I was also the president of the National Honor Society, the executive board president of our student council. I had been treasurer and secretary of the class councils prior to my senior year. I was a National Merit Scholar, and then one of the top 10 graduates from my high school. We didn't do valedictorian, so that was just how they identified the higher graduates. I had worked at Hurley Medical Center as a volunteer throughout all 4 years of high school. So because of that, I accumulated a lot of volunteer hours and won a volunteer award for that. I actually completed a degree in classical Indian dance throughout this time as well. Through my classes that I was taking, I took examinations through a school in India and was able to get a degree kind of as I was beginning college, which was kind of nice to have an equivalent of a college degree under my belt already, even if unrelated at all to what I ended up doing in my life. In college, I was a member of the Honors College, and I was on the Dean's List for every semester, actually. I took a job right away as a research assistant in the Department of Biochemistry. And then once I started medical school, I became a research assistant through the Kalamazoo Center for Medical Studies, and just did research products, clinical-based research projects at that time. I was a teaching assistant in undergrad and medical school for human anatomy, and a graduate assistant for human medicine classes and grading patient interactions for the junior students. So first of all, just in general, let me talk a little bit about medicine. I think that's the main reason that I'm here. As far as this advice, we can go through it, and then I'll talk about a little more about just a career in general in medicine. But find the things that you enjoy, focus on them in school, outside of school. Yes, you're preparing for getting into college or getting into medical school or whatever, but also it's your life. So definitely make sure that you are taking the time to explore your options and find out if you enjoy them versus that you're doing them to put on a resume. As far as careers, courses of study, look at the different options, figure out what makes sense to you. Don't give up easily, but also don't be afraid to change your direction. You kind of have to find a balance with that. Research your colleges. I really can't stress that enough. I applied to a lot of places. I got into a lot of different schools, but the name, the rank, the reputation, it's not everything. You need to definitely find the right fit for you, for both your personality, your style of study, your style as a student, and the area that you're interested in studying. Different schools are strong in really different areas, and are organized in different ways. So if you're undecided, go somewhere that has an option, that has options. If you are decided in your career path, just make sure that where you're going kind of fits with you. Participate in team activities or sports. Learn to work together with a group. Better yet, learn to motivate a group, because no matter where you end up going, that is really going to be a beneficial skill to have. Get involved in leadership, get a job, work experience helps. It doesn't have to be prestigious, it doesn't have to be related to what you're doing, but having had a job in your past, especially when you're going to interviews, is really, it really is helpful. And then shadow someone, get an internship, work in the field that you are planning to pursue, get a better idea of it upfront, firsthand knowledge on really what it is that you think that you are fit to pursue. You guys are all hard workers, and you could work really anywhere and succeed, but I think it's really important that you enjoy your career. That's how it brings fulfillment. That was the ikigai concept. You know, it's more than just you're good at it, it's also fulfilling to you. Motivation to keep going when things get tough is harder if you don't enjoy what you're doing. So when you're tired, when you're bored, annoyed, angry, frustrated, whatever, if you like what you're doing, that all passes and you're able to go through it. And don't get discouraged. Everyone missteps, struggles. Don't let it discourage you. Just push through, keep on going. This is definitely something that you can all do. I'm going to talk a little bit about field in medicine. I think a couple of slides are missing, but a lot of my high school and college experiences may be a bit irrelevant for all of you because it was so long ago. But in general, about a career in medicine, if that is something that you are interested in, I think first and foremost, you have to know that there are a lot more options than just going to medical school and becoming an MD. Of course, there's MD and DO programs if that's what you want to do, but also there are excellent career paths in nursing, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, CRNA, so like certified nurse anesthetists, dentists, veterinarians, NPs, PAs. I mean, there are a lot of fields and a lot of areas open to you. If you are going into medicine, you want to go to medical school, once you're in or through medical school, there are still so many directions that you can go with it. You're not kind of stuck in one track or another. Those, of course, anyone who wants to practice medicine, there are a lot of specialties, subspecialties. You can really tailor your field to be exactly an area that you're interested in. And you just find the one that fits your goals and your interests in regards to how much you want to work and what exactly you want to do. But medicine is also a great foundation if you want to do something else. If you want to do research, basic science, teaching, education, consulting, administration, public health, international outreach, public policy, all of these, you having a degree in medicine can give you a good foundation for it. And you don't have to pick just one. Now, I'm an MD. That's what I do. I have a clinical practice. And at least for right now, as I said, I just finished training about 2.5 years ago. That's sufficient for me right now. I may elect to start pursuing other things moving forward. But my senior partner here, he is an MD, MBA, and a professor. My mentor was previously when I was training, was an MD, a PhD, a professor, and a basic scientist with a full research lab. So there really is a lot that you can do depending on what your goals are and where you want to go. Okay, now I'll take any questions.
Awesome, thank you so much. I have 3 questions actually. So the first one is, what things do we do in high school to prepare ourselves for these type of careers?
So in general, for a career in medicine, I mean, I think the most important thing is to make sure that it is right for you, and that's where I think that shadowing or volunteering really can at least get you some experience, some exposure. Some people really want to go into medicine, and then they spend 5 minutes in a hospital and they realize this is absolutely not where I want to be, or not where I can be. And that's absolutely fine. You know, as I said, you don't have to practice clinically once you finish, but you do have to get through medical school. And with that, that means you will have to spend time in hospital. So I think as far as like, you know, I don't think that there are specific classes that, you know, they have pre-medical type classes in some high schools. And I don't find that it's extraordinarily helpful for as far as preparing you to go to medical school. I think, but I think making sure that that is what you want to do is very good. And then, as I said, you know, joining a team, joining leadership, kind of getting these well-rounded life skills, life experiences is really important. And so I have done a lot of interviewing of less so of high school students going to college, although I have done some, more of college students trying to go to medical school. And, you know, a lot of people have very, very, very similar resumes at that point. But the same is true, right? When you're graduating from a school, you know, from a school like IA, you all have a lot of very similar transcripts. It's the rest of the resume that really does make you an individual. And I think doing a bunch of activities to do them because it looks like, oh, these are all medical related, they're going to look good. If you don't have a connection to them, it shows. And so when I'm sitting down and talking to someone and interviewing someone, you can tell if they are passionate about what they're talking about, or if it's a rehearse, and you'll practice how you do your responses, but you can also tell when there's real feeling behind it. And so I think that's where I find that extracurricular activities really do help. Like Shreyas talked about the Rubik's Cube, his Rubik's Cube club and record, and that it's true. Stuff like that is so unique that it's interesting to people beyond like, okay, yes, I've read like the same resume on every single person, but this is something really different. This is something unique, and that makes you stand out. And it doesn't mean that, you know, go pick something that just to be individual either. It should be something that you're interested in. But if you have something like that, then it helps. And so, yeah, I think that's, you know, where things like this, getting involved in different community outreach programs, or volunteer work or anything like that, where you're really exploring different aspects of yourself. I mean, I did a lot of volunteer work teaching in elementary schools, and the teaching aspect wasn't really for me, but the experience was just so interesting to really just get involved in the community in that way, and to kind of see how it is different in different households and different schools and different areas.
Yeah, and then another one was, apart from the money that you do get from scholarships, what else do scholarships help you out with?
Well, the money is very, very helpful when you're paying for school, definitely. I mean, I think for applying for scholarships, you do get a lot of experience in writing similar type essays as you have to write when you're applying to college. And yeah, as Aadya said, you start your rough drafts early and plan to do several drafts, because it's really a strange process to write about yourself in that way. And there's a lot of writing about yourself in those essays, and it only gets worse as you get further along, as much detail as they want you to write about yourself. And so I think applying for scholarships like that really does help. But I think the other thing with the scholarships, I mean, it is because of the money somewhat, but it gives you a little bit more freedom to kind of explore your options. So, I mean, I think one thing here, right, we pay for school, which is different than say in the UK. When you pay for school here, you're really feeling every one of those classes. And so I was lucky enough to have a scholarship that covered 4 years of classes at Michigan State. And I used that to spend a semester abroad. I tailored my classes on that study abroad to relate towards my minor, actually. But I spent a summer studying abroad, and I was able to use that scholarship to cover that. And I don't think I would have, not that I couldn't have done it without it, but I was able to do it without accumulating debt, which I think was very good in my mind. And then I actually used that scholarship, even though it was an undergraduate scholarship, since I stayed at Michigan State for medical school and I hadn't used all of it. I convinced them to let me well, basically for them to pay for my first year of medical school, because I said, listen, you told me I had 8 semesters and I only used 6. So I want those other 2 semesters. And they did. They paid for that additional time. So, I mean, the money is helpful on a lot of things, but I think it does give you a little freedom to explore. And as I said, exploring options really does help you find the area that's a fit for you. And maybe it rules out something that you always you're pretty sure you didn't want to do, but you felt like maybe you had to give it a try, and you do it and it fits or it doesn't fit. And I think all that helps.
And specifically for the medical career, what extracurriculars are best for?
So I don't think that there's any one. I really don't. Volunteer work in general is looked highly upon. And as I said, I think volunteering in a hospital just does give you some hands-on experience. But as far as other extracurricular activities, I think that team activities are probably the most universally not accepted, but like you get the most universally used skills from participating in team activities. And it doesn't have to be sports. It can be things like a quiz bowl or book bowl or science Olympiad, Odyssey of the Mind, anything like that, where you really have to come together with a group of colleagues, or, I mean, like for you guys, for students, but right, where you and work together. And it's not like someone directing you and telling you what to do. It's you working together to come up with a response, and you kind of all will find your roles in that. And that teamwork activity, as well as you develop leadership skills through that. I think that really is so any sort of team event activity does help and translate very well into any of these careers going forward, including medicine, because you will be forced to work as a team always throughout college and medical school and even after. And it's incredible if you learn how to work in a team well. People who can't work well in teams will struggle with those aspects. It doesn't mean that you won't make it through or anything like that, but it definitely does help. So I think that team activities and volunteer work would be the two biggest extracurriculars, I think, at this point, that would really help you all moving forward.
Okay, so we have another question. How many years did it take you from graduating high school to when you completed your fellowship?
So I graduated 13 years. I graduated high school in 2005, and I finished my fellowship in 2018. And I will say, in general, for a career in surgery, that's actually very short. I cut 1 year out of college. I finished college in 3 years instead of 4. I went straight through to medical school in 4 years. A general surgery residency varies from 5 to 7 years. Mine was supposed to be 7 years. I cut it down and did it in 5. And then I did a 1 year fellowship, which is short. A lot of subspecialty fellowships vary. I mean, they vary between 1 and 3 years, sometimes more. But so I 13 years from when I graduated high school till finishing, and that was an accelerated path. So I was 31 when I finished training, and I was significantly younger than most people finishing at the same time.
So if any of you have any more questions, feel free to just unmute and one of the panelists will answer.
If not, we have one more question for really any of the panelists can go ahead and answer it. Because of COVID, I know there have been a lot of changes due to how you do school and extracurriculars and things like that. So if all of you or some of you guys just want to go ahead and answer how you've been able to kind of like accommodate for what's been happening and also kind of improve yourself and become like a better person in like your field or major, you can go ahead and answer that as well.
I can go first. So I'm still in high school, so we're all doing this online school thing together. I know it's a lot different than going in person, but one thing that helps me is keeping myself very, very organized. I have a planner and I've worked on my time management skills. And I know it's hard to lose motivation, but the year is almost done and we just got to keep pushing through. And as for computer science, that's fortunately a field that just needs a computer. So you're going to be online in anyway in your field in your career. So that's something you can do from anywhere, from home or from work. So it's better to stay adapted to that from now, which is yeah.
I can go next. I'd jump on that note too. So I'd say a lot of like computer science classes in college, like a good amount, were actually already online before COVID, because it was already like pre-recorded lectures, and they'd usually send you an assignment to do, like which had like a week's deadline. So that already I kind of got used to like how to work in an online presence like through that. And like as a major, what she said was like my work right now, it's all work from home. I think it's gonna be work from home for like the end of the year. So you just get used to like just being able to work online. But in terms of bettering yourself like professionally, I'd suggest like taking Coursera courses. There's a lot of courses like online that teach you like the introduction to Python, introduction to C++, web development. Definitely look into those if you're interested in like the aspect of computer science. With respect to going to career fairs, that's really been really different like the past year. I've heard a lot of my friends say it's a little bit harder because it's all these career fairs are online, like a Zoom session, so you can't talk to the recruiter like one by one. There's been some cases where there have been, but it's definitely a little bit more difficult. So what I suggest is try to attend those as much as possible, again, because you get exposure to see like how a company works and stuff before like applying to their company. But another way is either cold emailing like recruiters like through LinkedIn. Start building up your LinkedIn presence to where you type up like all the classes you've taken, all of the extracurriculars and certifications that you've got. So just set up that LinkedIn account. It's definitely going to be useful like in the long term. So might as well just start early and get used to that environment. So nothing else. I'd say, yeah, again, what you mentioned too, just stay organized. It's going to be difficult because you're way more self-paced. Like you get to create your own schedule in a way. Like you could just, you could just turn your camera off and just passively listen to your lectures and stuff. I've done that too, but try to stay on top of things and just try to stay as organized as possible.
So I think throughout for medicine, throughout this, of course, there's been a lot of changes. We have really, telehealth has been a practice for some time, but they really pushed ahead aggressively when all of this happened because as much as we could move outside of the hospital, outside of a clinical environment to allow people to stay distance and safe, we wanted to do. So they really pushed these telehealth platforms ahead aggressively, at the very beginning of this pandemic. And even things like Zoom, have just made our ability to collaborate actually a little bit easier. Even moving forward. And I think this, like some of these things are definitely going to stay around long term. And as a surgeon, telehealth with patients is limited. I still have to be able to see and examine my patients before and after surgery, but there's a lot of like small follow-ups that I can do like this over the computer. But it's very variable based on fields. I think in areas, especially in regards to things like mental health, this push with telehealth has really opened that up and made it available and really accessible for a lot of people, because it's not just the having, you know, whatever time set aside for the appointment. It's that you have to leave work and you have to go there and you have to get to the office early and you have to sit and wait, and the doctor will be running behind, and so then you have to wait longer, and it's just, it's difficult, especially for something if you're having to have multiple appointments. And so I think, I mean, looking at a silver lining, that the telehealth really has opened up a lot of these areas. But then from an academic standpoint, I think what's really nice is, at least temporarily, a lot of the major academic conferences have moved to a virtual format as well. So while it used to be to attend these national conferences, you're flying somewhere, you're taking days off work, you're flying somewhere, and spending 3 days intense, you know, in person, going to different lectures and events. Now, with it being virtual, you know, many more people are able to participate because they don't have to go anywhere. Some of them are kind of, they're of course shared live, but then they also have a recording that you can review later. So you can stay up to date with a lot of innovative things without having actually have to leave. And this is open to students and residents and physicians. And so I think that opportunity has really opened things up. Now, I don't think it's going to stay like that, unfortunately, while there may be some aspects, because the other major part of this, which, you know, as is networking. And it's very difficult. I've done it, but it's really difficult to network via a Zoom event, to meet one-on-one and talk to people and make connections. You will, but when it's a Zoom event of 20, 30 people, it's different than when you're in person and actually wandering around and talking to people and you know, noticing who spoke about what or who's presenting about what. And so, you know, there are definite, of course, there are definite downsides to this, but also some improvements. And I think if they do keep some virtual aspect, it will actually keep many more people involved and allow for more students and residents, you know, to be able to participate in these sort of events.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and thank you for all of our speakers for coming as well. We hope that you guys enjoyed the meeting, and if you do have any questions, feel free to contact the speakers or us as well. So yeah, we hope you guys have a good day, and thank you so much for coming.